Hello, my name is Erin Vachon, and I'm a hybrid editor at Longleaf Review. Welcome to a special feature of our summer 2022 issue in the hybrid genre, where we share space with our hybrid authors to chat about their artistic process and expand on how their incredible work has come to fruition. So today I'm really happy to share space with Sara Puotinen to talk about her graphic poems, Into Bright Light, What Can You Say and Learn to Speak. Hi, Sara.
Hi.
Hi. So first, can you tell me a little bit about the initial process for making these incredible poems? I guess it might be a chicken or egg question on your
Sure.
method. Was it the poetry or the graphic that first propelled you forward?
Well, I actually say before anything else, it was kind of, I had this need to describe and share my experiences of my losing my central vision. So it really started with this desire to try and find the words and the form to express those feelings of what it feels like. So started with that. And then I think I'm really interested in unconventional forms and hermit crab,
Mhm.
like borrowed forms. So, and I knew I wanted something that would kind of remind you of the ophthalmologist's office, and the Snellen chart came to me. So it started there. And I really appreciated, I like limitations in my work as a way to really, shape them and push the words forward. So I liked the fact that a Snellen chart is 61 characters. And
Oh.
so that whatever I wanted to say, and that's the way I treated it, was not just the letters, but any spaces, or I use a little bit of punctuation in some of my Snellen charts. Um, but it was really, it forced me to condense what I wanted to say. So yeah.
Yeah, constrictions. I love constrictions too. In
Yeah.
some way, like it opens up. Yeah, it does something really beautiful to your mind and creativity somehow. Yeah. Um, so how did you make these poems? Like in what medium did you construct them?
Yeah, well, I started in, I had written down in a notebook. I wish I could remember the exact, like the moment when this came to me, but I started in my notebook, and I found them. I have these images, like I just was trying to do sketch out a Snellen chart, and I just started jotting them down. And then I went into just a Word document and just worked with how many characters I had. Um, and so it wasn't really so much initially about like looking at the line breaks or how it broke on the page, but just using the characters. And then once I had the full poem, I worked with my husband, Scott Anderson. He's a web developer and a graphic designer. And so he created a template that mimicked the Snellen chart and found a font that really was very similar to the actual Snellen chart font. And so that's how it came out.
Oh, that's helpful. Like having a partner who can like be collaborative.
Yes, it's amazing because I think to realize these Snellen charts and make them effective, I needed his attention to detail and his ability to, yeah, find the right font and
Cool. Um, so I really appreciate that these poems not only reinforce the image work of a hybrid when we're thinking about kind of like image text hybrids, but they reinforce that every word and then every individual letter in itself is a graphic. So by presenting the letters in an eye chart in a new way, you've destabilize the poetry. So was there an expectation of something that you wanted the reader to see or unsee through crafting
yeah.
these poems? And was it different from maybe the end result and how it came out?
Sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so like I was saying before, the initial impetus for this was to kind of describe or express how it feels to be losing central vision. So in 2016, I was diagnosed with cone dystrophy, and it's very rare. And basically, I'm losing all of your cone cells, which are in your central vision. So I still have some, and I can still read a little, but my ability to read is slowly over the last couple of years getting harder.
Yeah.
So I was looking for, I think, a form or a way to kind of communicate that and have the reader experience
Mhm.
that. So it was very intentional, this sort of disruption of when you're another thing when I go into a situation, or I'm trying to read a sign, or I'm looking at faces,
Mhm.
usually with good vision you can see it right away, it all makes sense, it's quick. It takes me much longer, so it slows down the process of reading, so you can still see, but it just takes you longer. So that was a big part of this. And then, but it was unexpected how effective I think it can be with the Snellen chart, because I wasn't totally thinking about all of that with the line breaks. But the other thing is, this is part of a larger project of other Snellen charts, and these come in the middle. And the very early ones are called diagnosis, and they start with each word, each line has words, so you can read it straight across. It's much easier to read. And
Mhm.
as you go through the collection, and as my vision gets worse, there's more line breaks and disrupting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. That's right. That's incredibly striking. Like the experience of reading slowing as the progression of it. Wow. That's incredible, Sarah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks. Yeah. And it's a big, like, one thing I found, and this was another reason for doing this, was there's not a lot about the experience of becoming blind, or I mean, it's potential I could be legally blind at some point. I'm not, but losing that vision, it's either I found a lot about the moment, or like how it feels once you don't have it, but the process of it and experiencing that, the discomfort of slowly losing it. Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of the day, since we are looking at the eye chart, which is a test or an assessment of the eye and the body, you're forcing that model to be processed through poetics rather than like individual letters. So the reader must not only see the letters, but the poem itself. So I'm really interested in the idea that you've made a poem as a test. Could you maybe expand on that a little bit more? A poem as test.
Yeah, well, I love that question. Thank you for that. Because that idea of test, well, I should say I hadn't thought about it this way before until just now, but I am I'm an educator, and I used to teach at the University of Minnesota. And I've written a lot about, and in terms of unconventional forms, trying to apply those sorts of forms of teaching to my creative writing. So I think that probably came to it as well. But the idea of a test, I do really think the test is like, how does it feel to experience this discomfort, to not be able to immediately understand or read the sign or the situation or where you're at, and what do you do with that discomfort? That's and how do you sit with it? So I think that's part of the test for the reader. And I'm hoping at some point in the future to turn this into some sort of installation where
Oh.
these Snellen charts would, because I have some other vision test poems, but you put it on, it would be in a space, and it would be on the wall, and there'd be a marking where you're supposed to stand in a doctor's
Oh.
office, so you could actually take the test. And yeah, so I'm hoping to do that at some point.
Wow, that sounds I would love to see that.
Yeah,
That's
it'd be really fun. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so last question, and it's a fun one, I guess. What's something in any medium, because we're in the hybrid genre, what that is inspiring you as an artist right now?
Yeah, well, I guess two things. I'd read a little of it, but I just read the whole Alice Oswald's Dart.
Ooh.
It's about the River Dart.
Mhm.
Oh, and I can't remember how old it is, but about 10 years old. It's really great. And I'm an open water swimmer, and she writes, and I'm really interested in water and so she talks about that. And the other thing is, I've really been listening to the Tin House Between the Covers podcast a
Mhm,
lot,
yeah.
listening to back episodes. And I just was really inspired by the Jory Graham one. So that was awesome. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that podcast. Yeah, so I'm right there with you.
Oh my gosh, David Naiman is so amazing with his
So great.
questions.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so now I'm gonna go check out more of I'm gonna have to actually go back into the back issues too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today, Sarah. And you can view all of Sarah's poems at the Longleaf Review website, along with the rest of our current issues. So again, thank you, Sarah, for joining me today.
Thank you so
Okay.
much for having me.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, everyone.